I do believe that the science and medicine is pushing towards a medical revolution. A great shift in mindset is happening in the recent years. More than an opportunity, I think it's a duty. We have to solve this.
In a way, we're overloaded with health information.
Yes.
And then we self-sabotage.
Ambr is kind of the engine that will look at all the interaction between your lifestyle and your biomarkers to try to predict your future health and helps you to, take concrete action to reduce potential risk before they happen. The sleep deprivation is going to hit me in the back.
Sleep is huge.
If I have one advice to people, take care of your sleep.
You're 100% disciplined and dedicated?
100%, yeah.
That's what you do?
I go full in all the time. I go full in many things, that's the problem, but when I go into something, I give it everything, yeah.
Welcome to the Northern Lights podcast, Valentin A.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bente, for inviting me.
It's great to have you here. You're the founder and the CEO of Ambr Institute, a groundbreaking institute with the ambition of helping everyone to have better health, a longer life, using MedTech. So that is quite exciting. And your vision is to also reach out to every one of us, not only the privileged people and the elites.
Absolutely. We do preventive medicine or longevity for the masses, for everyone, every single one of us, everywhere in the world. That's the mission of Ambr.
Mm. We're going to talk a lot about Ambr, but you started it a few years ago.
Yeah. In 2022, actually, we launched the company.
Yeah. And you're 32 years old.
I am.
So it's a huge and bold move to start a company like that. What's your vision, Valentin?
Well, my vision for Ambr, at least, is to actually support the change in healthcare that is happening right now. Healthcare is evolving a lot with the population dynamics of the world, and it's focusing more and more on being more sustainable, more accessible, and more efficient at not only fixing things when they happen, but preventing things and bad things to happen. And this shift in healthcare has been, we talked about it for 20 years and even more, actually. You can go much more further in time when we were talking about prevention, but it is happening now.
Are we into a new era? So what I see with MedTech, not only in Norway and Scandinavia, but across continents, there's so much happening at such speed. Is this actually a medical revolution?
I don't know yet, Bente, but I suspect it is. When we see the rise of new technologies and infrastructures, also a great shift in mindset is happening in the recent years, centered around AI. I do believe that the science and medicine is pushing towards a medical revolution. Ease of diagnostic, accessibility, distribution, and also a lot of the responsibility shared towards the patients as well to be on top of their own health. I do see that as changing drastically the field of medicine.
And so, just to understand and to simplify a little bit, so Ambr uses biomarkers and AI technology.
Yeah.
Tell us, firstly, what's biomarkers?
Yes, so Ambr actually tries to use everything it can on the patient. So it uses lifestyle information, your diet information, your physical exercise, your sleep, your medical history, potentially the medical history of your family. That can matter a lot to predict your future health. And it uses biomarkers, and as much biomarkers as possible that have been already measured by you as a patient, for example. And really, Ambr is kind of the engine that will look at all the interaction between your lifestyle and your biomarkers to try to predict your future health and helps you to take concrete action to reduce potential risk before they happen. And biomarkers, to come back to it, it's a way for us to measure an element of the body. So it can be a blood measurements, a urine measurements, typically cholesterol can be a biomarker, acid concentration, tons of other things. Yeah. And Ambr tries to see the correlation, see the links between all these different biomarkers that act at different scales and how they correlate with your lifestyle, to give to the patient and the doctor the best course of action for the health of the patient. It really enables the doctor to have a proactive plan for you as a patient, and you as a patient to understand that proactive plan and engage with it when you leave the doctor office.
I have to tell you, I actually tried it out.
You did?
I did, because I thought I can't meet this guy without being prepared at all.
Nice.
So that's
good to hear.
So I used one of your Ambr doctors,
Okay.
and myself as a test case.
Okay.
So in what way could this doctor help me?
Yeah.
And what I found very interesting is she visualized, with use of the technology, she visualized for me what would happen if I did this and that. Now, of course, she told me, which is typical for leaders and entrepreneurs like me, that I should probably sleep a little more, I should stress a little less, and that would be good for my health in the years to come. How did this model work? Let's say you are a person who you are in a risk group, a risk group for chronic disease or heart attack, for example. How would that method help the patient?
Yes, if we take a step back, actually, doctors, when they see a patient, they have different analyses, they follow different guidelines, and they can grasp pretty easily. I mean, they have a fantastic intuition which patient is maybe at risk or obviously at risk. It's a bit more difficult when you have patients that are around the risk group and they can be potentially at risk. And their Ambrs help them a lot to identify this patient and why is that person potentially at risk. But the difficulty and the challenge is when you have someone that is at risk of a disease, let's say a metabolic symptom like diabetes type 2, right? Some of these people are not very healthy, they are not very in shape, their risk can come from family history, can come from genetic, but you usually see a lifestyle that is associated towards, that is correlated to having a higher risk. And many of these patients...
But it's not like going to a psychologist,
no.
It's more using the data.
Absolutely. And we use the data to explain to these patients why they are at risk and what can be done to potentially lower the risk. And the goal is really to use visualization and dynamic visualization that are supported by AI to help them comprehend and understand how much of an impact they can have on themselves to reduce their risk.
And then you work directly with the doctors, the general practitioners mainly, but also clinics.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
the collaboration between you providing the model and the techniques is essential.
It is essential, and we like to say that the Ambr experience is a doctor plus AI. And it is a very specific type of AI that we can come back to later, that we call explainable AI, which is a transparent AI. But it's really a collaboration between the doctor. We, Ambr, are here to support the doctor into assessing better their patients and having a plan for their patients and support the patient to understand their health and action on it, own it, understand it.
But I gave the doctor all my data.
Yeah.
How can I be sure that that data is protected? Like I used to be, confident with my doctor, right?
Yeah.
You know your doctor, but here it comes in a whole new technology.
Yeah, I understand your concern, and it's actually a fair one, and I think people should be concerned about the health data. It's very important. all of the data that you give to your doctors, they are stored somewhere. Without Ambr, just when you go to your Fastlege and they type notes and they have your blood data, it is stored somewhere, right? We don't.
So the Fastlege is the general practitioner for those who those who don't speak Norwegian.
Absolutely.
Right?
So they have your blood data, they have notes about you, your medication history, and these data are stored according to guidelines that are EU controlled and Norwegian law controlled. Us, Ambr, we do follow these guidelines, so GDPR, Norman, all of this, but also we go further when it goes to anonymization of the data, segregation of the data, and everything is kept on the Norwegian servers that is quite secure, as much secure as it can be, basically.
And so that would be the same, by the way, when you now are entering other countries in Europe. So wherever you are, it would be the same kind of protection of personal data.
Absolutely. The model will be the same wherever you are logging into Ambr as well. The only difference would be that we would store the data more or less close to where you are based. So,
right.
And that is, driven by GDPR.
So it is a personal thing.
Yeah.
And an individual.
Yeah.
Actually exercise. So back to. My own experience with the Ambr doctor, and I would say probably many other patients who are exposed to this doctor. So you will be told things you might even know from before, right? So we do know. I know. You should eat vegetables and fish, and that kind of rich food. You should not eat too much sugar. You shouldn't do ultra-processed food. That would increase your risk for certain illnesses, etc.
Yeah.
And you should exercise so and so and all of these things. But people know that today. So this information is everywhere. In a way, we're overloaded with health information.
Yes.
And then we self-sabotage. So we've heard it, but we don't act on it. Why would this be any different?
Well, it is a very interesting point that you're raising, and I agree. It's hard to compromise and to sacrifice the guilty pleasures like candies, smågodt in a way, as we like to say. People are educated and more educated on why they should not eat that and that. I think the difference with Ambr actually is that we are not going to just tell you eat healthy because it's bad to eat processed food. It's all about showing to you how much of a difference you can make by changing a tiny bit your diet.
And then you can see it on the graphs and on your predictions.
And you can test
with
different
precision.
diets, different things that you want to experience. It's not always about removing all the good things. It's about doing it the right way, finding the right balance. And when you see how much of an impact, a positive impact, eating a few broccolis can have in 2, 5, 10 years in your life, then you reconsider and you have a different approach to it. So that's the difference. It's the understanding that drives the motivation. And I believe that is where we are actually quite ahead by how we bring that knowledge to the customer.
We're going to dig a little deeper into it throughout this conversation. But I would love for the audiences to also get to know you a little more. Now, who is this guy who starts this huge and ambitious mountainous project? And you were born between Madagascar and Mauritius on a little island.
Yes.
That's where you come from, a French little island.
It's a French little island. It's basically just a big volcano that comes from the middle of nowhere in the Indian Ocean. It's actually quite unknown, except by French people. We like to say that we keep it for us because it's a paradise island that we don't want to share.
You don't even want to say the name.
Réunion Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not so many people.
Well,
it's a paradise.
It's a paradise, and it's a region of France, and actually the population is quite big when you think about it. We are soon 1 million of people on that island.
Yeah. But this is where little Valentin grew up.
That is where little Valentin grew up, indeed.
Yeah, and there's you have to say something more about this island, because what I've heard is that there were also. It's not like a quiet oasis. There's lots of sharks in the sea, in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, it is actually.
How did that affect you?
Well, it's the people on that island have a very respectful relationship with the sea. And that affected me quite a lot, actually, because it's not a place where you can enjoy the water activities like you would in Mauritius, for example.
Right.
Because it's a very kind of wild islands where the beaches are rough and the waves are strong, and sharks are everywhere. I think it's one of the places on Earth with the highest shark attack per capita, perhaps.
Were you ever threatened or no?
No, because you kind of know that you should.
You know what to do. You know what to do.
You know where to go and where not to go. Yeah.
But what happened to you then? Was it in this upgrowing that you used your brain so much on mathematics? So what was it like? How does a guy on this little island start thinking in mathematical terms?
You know,
it's a special art of logic.
It is.
Patterns, structure.
It's a bit hard to know exactly where it comes from. My dad was teaching mathematics for a while, but I don't think it affected me that much, because when I started to like mathematics, he was not doing that anymore. I think it's actually kind of strange that I ended up loving mathematics, because my relationship...
You don't know, really?
No, my relationship with it was not the best in high school, for example.
Okay.
And it's really towards the end of high school where I started to really dive into it, because all I did in my childhood was music, really. I was singing and playing the violin, and it was all my life for until the end of high school. I was just doing that every day, all the time. And that was my future plan, doing the violin professionally, and it did not happen at the end, and I switched completely towards science and mathematics and biology. It's a bit funny how it emerged.
You can say that math is also an art?
Yes, you could say that.
In a way, right?
In a way,
but for special people, for special interests. And it led you to École. So your education, tell us about that. So you've been to one of the most prestigious schools.
I've been lucky to end up there. Yeah, I agree. And it was a lot of hard work to get there. We have to be honest, but it was also a great experience. It's a school that's a bit special, because when you are there, you have the luxury, I would say, to completely adapt your curriculum. So I was able to...
And tell us about what it encompasses. There are many subjects, but your specialties.
Yeah, so I was studying biology at the time. So I did first a bachelor in biology and mathematics, and then went to that school. But then I did a bit of physics, a bit of philosophy of science, which I did not pursue because I couldn't understand everything in that class. It was way too intellectual for me. But then I specialized in neuroscience.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where we got you. That was your first kind of pivoting into the field that we are talking about today.
Absolutely.
That was when it happened. You were still very young. And then what I know, because I've also done a bit of research on you, is you were considered to be one of the hugely talented students. And later you went to Harvard and you've taken a PhD.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Of course you went to Harvard, obviously. But tell us about your deep dive.
Yeah, so, I ended up in Harvard for part of the master, and fantastic experience. I loved it. And then there I got extremely lucky because I met Edvard and May-Britt Moser from Trondheim, who got the
Nobel Peace
in 2000.
Nobel Prize, not Peace Prize.
Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2014. And I met them, and they were introduced to me by my supervisor in Harvard. And then they invited me to come to Trondheim. So I moved to Norway there for the first time. I did.
So people like that are hugely inspirational and mentors.
They are absolutely. And I did not know how much they would be mentor to me until I started Ambr, because they had a very interesting leadership style, very inspiring leadership style, and they do a lot of work at two people, so they have this strong collaboration that represent different visions, but also a very strong cohesion. And the way they handle the success, the way they handle the people, actually impacted me much more than I thought when I was doing a PhD.
But so these Nobel Prize winners, they also represent the extreme discipline
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of meeting them at that time. They have an extreme discipline. They are wonderfully dedicated, and that's what life is about. Are you kind of that same type, that it's like you're 100% disciplined and dedicated?
100%, yeah.
That's what you do.
I go full in all the time. I go full in many things, that's the problem, but when I go into something, I give it everything. Yeah. And I agree, Edvard and my Brit, they are like this, you know, they know what they want, they know how to go there. They always have an open mind, however, if the path is needed to change. They're quite incredible people.
But do you think, like, so you keep saying you were lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, so luck is a part of maybe your destiny, but it's not just about luck, is it?
It's not just about luck. But it's a big part of it.
Yeah.
I think the key is to manage to identify your lucky moment and grasp it, and that's the difficulty. But if I want to relate to myself, you know, I really wanted to do something with Edvard and Brit Moser because I love the field of research. I was very much inspired by them before I met them, but somehow I got lucky enough to be introduced to them at the right moment, in the right situation,
in the right time.
At the right time.
Timing is a lot. Valentin, tell us, how did this whole idea about creating Ambr Institute come to you? Yeah,
so it's actually not only me, because the interesting thing is Ambr, you know, I have some co-founders with me, and when I met them, actually we united into a common vision, but we all had different way to approach it, right? So I teamed up with someone that has much more of a commercial mindset than me originally, and also with my CTO, who is fantastic tech guy.
So you come in with different skills.
Different skills, and also Alice, she also co-founded with us. She had this she did a PhD in explainable AI and safe use of AI, and she also jumped on board with her vision of safety and how to do AI properly. Me, I really came from, you know, neuroscience, where we have a lot of data. We have been using AI per se to analyze this data for years.
But you all threw yourself into this.
Yeah, we did.
Big project. What is your personal motivation?
Yeah, you know, when you look at the population that we have in the world right now, and especially in Europe, where you have most of the chronic disease and disease of aging, so, you know, conditions that are associated to the fact that we age, together with an aging population in general, we have a very severe crisis coming on, because we do not have enough personnel in the medical field to take care of the surge and the increase in chronic disease and age-associated disease. So we need to do something to increase the sustainability of healthcare. And it turns out that many of these medical conditions can be prevented to some extent, right?
So the crisis has also for you been like an opportunity
the crisis
to do something to solve these issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And but more than an opportunity, I think it's a duty. I think like we have to solve this, because in 20 years, what will be the situation, you know? Then we probably need 1/4 of all the active population to be in healthcare and be nurses and doctors to take care of the rest. That's not sustainable. That's not going to work. We still need people to make food and to write books and to teach. So we need a healthcare.
So your driving force is
our driving force is to still be able to provide better care, or at least the same quality of care in the next year to the entire population on Earth. Yeah.
But to do what you do requires a lot of guts as well, right?
It does.
It's a bold move.
It is brave, yes, but I believe that if you have an idea and something that you care about, and you find the people that you are willing to do it with, I didn't really think of it as a risk, to be honest. I just saw a nice experience and an opportunity per se. You know, I was towards the end of my time in the Moser lab, and I was really trying to figure out what was next for me. And I love research. and I love academia, but there are also things that I did not like so much in the idea of continuing there. In the same way, what I knew of the industry, which was very little, was not very appealing to me. So I was really struggling.
So you were looking for your
I was looking
inner
for
drive.
the inner drive, right? What I really want to do.
Yeah.
And actually making what I wanted to do was perhaps the best option I had. So I just went for it. And
do you feel that, like in the time we are living in now, do we pay attention to the meaning of research, science, medical development as we should as humankind? Or have we become too superficial? There are not so many people like you that we meet every day, you know?
That's a challenging question, a bit philosophical, I think. But I think we give a lot of attention. And perhaps we don't give attention in the same way. Like we used to have a huge respect, for example, for research and science, and it became a little bit different the way people envision it. People challenge it more by themselves as well, with the emergence of tools like AI and things like this. But I do still believe that we give it a lot of attention.
Okay, so you're an optimist.
I am an optimist.
But how about you, like the boy from the island? Do you ever miss the island and the island life?
Yeah, I do. And it's a fun fact because when we left, I didn't go back for quite some time. And then we all went back there with my family. And now I've been going regularly, almost every year. Meeting my parents there, or my family. I have some cousins there, and I do miss it a lot. Good weather, good food. There is no reason not to go there, really. And the nature is astonishing.
And then you relax.
I relax completely there. Yeah, and it's actually fun because towards the end of my PhD, I was actually in Renan Island when I first started to exchange with my co-founders via LinkedIn. So actually on my side,
so everything happens for a reason. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
But you also do sailing?
Yeah, I do sailing. A bit
but not there.
Not there. No, it's not very developed.
No, right.
There. Some people do, but it's treacherous.
But the Norwegian in you.
Yeah, the Norwegian in me likes to sail in Norway.
Right.
So I've done sailing quite a lot. Actually, one of the first things I did when I moved to Norway was to buy an old Norwegian Colin Archer. It's this rescue boat. Bought it in Oslo and sailed it all the way to Trondheim and lived on board for a couple of years through Norwegian winter. And that was a very unexpected experience, but I was again, confronted to the opportunity, and I was like, I'm gonna try this.
But when you meet with all these Norwegians on a sailing boat and other places, do you feel that do we have as a nation and as people, do we have enough ambition in the fields that you are exploring?
Yeah,
we have ambition.
I think so too. I think we have a lot of ambition in
cool.
Norway. I do think that we tend to say a lot that Norwegians don't have ambition. I think it's just a communication differences. When you look at the way VC, venture capitalists, expect people to present their ambition, is very inspired by the American culture. And then when we look at Norwegian being a bit more down to earth, have a different approach to it, we immediately tag them as, they are not ambitious. But you don't know how they think.
It has to do with how you present?
Yeah, these people might be as ambitious, if not more, as someone in America that does
but less obsessed with marketing.
Pitch. Perhaps less obsessed with marketing, more obsessed with results. I don't believe Norwegians are not ambitious enough. I think they are, and you see a lot of fantastic cases in Norway.
Well, since you're so good at analytics, how would you describe the Norwegian business culture that you meet now through Ambr?
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
Good.
You're well received.
Yeah, we are very well received. We have a lot of supports. We've never really encountered any real challenge in terms of marketing, in terms of discussing with people or outreach. People are always kind of willing to help. I'm positive, actually. I'm really positive.
And so what's happening right now is that Ambr Institute is growing in Norway, scaling up, and you have big ambitions, which tells us something about your already receiving reputation.
Yeah. So in the US, actually, it's actually quite interesting because we have some commercial agreements with 6 federal hospitals in the US, in Washington state. And these hospitals are actually publicly funded, right?
Yeah.
So we are entering the US market from the public side. While in Norway, we really started to focus on the private clinics at the beginning because they are, faster to adopt new technologies, and they have more flexibility as well. But it's a bit fun, I think, that the US being such a liberal and private-dominated healthcare system, we go there from the public angle.
But I would expect that has to do also with the huge gap in the US within public health.
Yes, and also all the changes that we see with the new administration. Federal hospitals, they have to reduce their budget by quite a lot, so they need to invest in sustainability and telemedicine quite a lot. So they are actively looking for solutions like this.
And one thing we have to give the US is that at a general level, overarching level, they have been quite dedicated into research within medicine, be it chronic diseases, autoimmune diseases, and now recently, women's health. And now here's something where you got my heart. I need to ask you about this because we find that women's health is one of the hottest topics these days.
It is.
Within MedTech especially. And personally, I think it is a paradox how much women's health have been ignored up through the years and not be found it interesting enough to do research on. And also even when women have met the health system, be it with chronic diseases, be it menopause, or be it other typical biological related issues. Let's start with the why. Why hasn't this happened before, that we have this as a hot topic?
I don't know, because women's health is so fascinating. Like, it really is fascinating. The different medical conditions, the different interactions between hormones, the variations of the cycles. It's a very interesting biological structure. So I
and different from men.
It is different from men in many ways. There are also a lot of similarity. And I'm not a specialist in that field at all, so I don't have the background that I probably would need to be very accurate there. But I find it fascinating and I find it interesting. And so it's a bit of a mystery to me why science was not focusing more on it. And I think it's just a consequence of the moral and the attitudes that society had back in the days, right? I don't think it comes from a specific will of the scientists at the time to not study this. I think it's just a consequences of how society was back in the days.
Well, maybe a few years back, at least 10, 20 years back, I would have a tendency to say that it was also more focused on typical diseases that then hit men, which was heart attacks, etc.
Yeah.
Now, where now actually women are having more heart issues. So that's
exactly.
So it could have been. It can have to do with that, but nevertheless.
And there are trends also. Like we were very engaged into cancer research in the last 20 years, and also some viral disease. Yeah.
But nevertheless, there can be. It's kind of an opportunity that we cannot miss out on, as we also use technology so much, and we have much more data that can follow a woman's life cycle. Yeah. So Ambr is actually into this, right?
We are, and I think we see it as a duty. Yeah. Because the key of Ambr, at the center of Ambr, is these explainable algorithms that try to understand your lifestyle and your biomarkers, your biology. And to understand that properly, you need to understand the difference between men and women at different level, right? You need to what we do in Ambr, for example, is when we have a new patient, the gender of the person, the age, the ethnicity, all of this matters because different ethnicity, different genders have different type of interaction, different biomarker in different biomarkers, guidelines as well. So it's very important to use the distinctions. And we have independent models between male and female. So we look at heart attack differently from a woman and a man perspective, because there are different triggers.
And you also started this special project, I understand, with some PhD students around menopause.
Yeah, master students.
Master students.
Yeah.
So what are you and they hoping to achieve with that?
Yes, so the goal is actually to help identifying women that are pre-menopause, so they are
which can start quite early.
Which can start quite early, and actually very early for some women. And you start to see some symptoms that are hard to link to menopause, and many doctors actually try to treat these symptoms without addressing the fact that it can be pre-menopause. And many of these women could potentially receive strategy to try to mitigate these symptoms as well. And hormone replacement therapy is one of them. And basically what the students are looking into is the potential benefit of hormone replacement therapy in early phase of menopause and premenopause as well. But they also look at identifying women that would be at higher risk of developing long-term disease post-menopause, depending on their status premenopause. So it's really trying to personalize again.
I think if you make it through this one, I think it's going to be a huge health improvement for so many women who are suffering. So this just meant as an example of what can be achieved where you combine medicine and technology. But are there any, so far on your journey with Ambr, are there any discoveries or findings that are surprising to you?
Surprising?
Or new?
Surprising, I don't know, but sometimes I'm surprised by how good some prediction can be.
How good they can be.
Exactly, because we have so much data. And when we started to build Ambr and we first trained the models based on the vision that we had, and we started to get the first results, I was very surprised by, I was looking at this and it was really we need to get that out there. And recently, and this is almost a scoop, our PhD student, she just finished working on a new biological age, which is a way to measure kind of, how all your body really is compared to your birthday, right? And people that have a biological age that is much higher than a real age, usually it shows sign of being more kind of frail or less resilient and more prone to long-term health issue. And she finished working on this recently, and the results are extraordinary compared to the state of the art. So the tools that are actually being used right now.
We're going to follow up this one.
That's
very
really
interesting.
Making a difference. And on top of that, she really had a layer of explainability, which is core to Ambr. We don't do black box AI like ChatGPT or large language model. All the AI, that when they give a prediction, the doctor and the patient can understand where the prediction comes from, all the way to the clinical trials and peer-reviewed literature that was used to build the algorithm.
I understood this actually when I met with the doctor, that there's a whole nother level of data, and I would also say if any guest on the show wants to dig into it, they can see how it works out in our description of the program. But how about you, Valentin? How do you? What's your lifestyle? How do you kind of fit into your to your own vision? Do you live the vision?
Yeah, I try to my best. As you are like me, I guess you don't necessarily have the job that allows you to prioritize your lifestyle that much. And I'm aware that sleep deprivation is going to hit me in the back.
Sleep is huge.
It's huge issue. It's the most important one. If I have one advice to people, take care of your sleep. Go to bed early.
And that's regardless of age and gender.
Regardless of gender, of everything. Just sleep is your most important thing to take care of.
And let's stop there just for 1 second, because the reason is that you wash your brain when you sleep, right?
And one can say that.
What else?
Yeah, I mean, it's super important for cellular regeneration, cleaning up the mess that accumulated, if I can say that. structure, reinforcing memory. It's something I worked on in my PhD. Is really about memory and navigation. So sleep is super important here, where you replay all the memories of the day and strengthen that. So of course, if you shortcut that, then you will start to.
Oh, this is so important advice to anyone, right?
But also stress regulation, hormonal changes. It's ton of things. So sleep as much as you can.
It should be a simple saying, but we know it's not.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
We know,
and it's
both
hard.
you and I and the audiences know that either they struggle themselves or so many they know have a lot of sleeping issues.
And I do have
it's a stress thing.
Sleeping issues that were stress related that I've been working a lot to address.
And how do you do it?
Well, I use Ambr actually quite a lot for that.
Of course.
But I actually have changed my diet with the goal of improving sleep.
And in what way?
Well, increasing intake of serotonin, for example, that is good. Trying to start to eat earlier, to typically
not eat right before you go to bed.
Exactly, so that you are not like full in the digestion process. The time when you work out matters. It's not good to work out straight before going to bed. Now I'm trying something new, which has been recommended by a doctor, which is to take a slightly colder shower to cool down the body before going to bed. And when I look back to where I was last year in March, when we launched Ambr for the first time, and I had my first consultation with a doctor, to where I am now, where I was sick recently and got some blood markers, and I used Ambr to analyze that. And I looked at where I was compared to where I was a year past. I did a lot of improvement just by listening to my doctor.
So you got to do what you say that everyone else should do, right?
I try my best to do what everyone else should do.
And then there's one of your secrets at the end of our conversation here that I wanted to dig into. You did actually mention it initially, that you play the violin.
I do, yeah.
And so music can play such a essential, vital part of people's life.
Yeah, I agree.
We know that close relationships, having friends, family, love life, all of those things matters enormously.
Yeah, and more than you think. Actually, if you look into Ambr, they often pops as a very important factor for future risk. And we notice for many diseases that social exposure with your family and satisfaction of your relationship is a huge determinant.
Yeah, and I think we are getting more and more aware of it. And the reason why I'm combining music and our relationship in this conversation is that we also know that in this world there are so many people suffering as we speak. Yeah. So they have maybe even lost their loved ones in war or conflicts. They have other sufferings. There is a increasing social inequality, numerous challenges around the world, and for anyone who has or does not have close relationships, music can be a great inspiration. Yeah. Tell us what it means to you.
What music means to me is a lot. It's a huge part of my history. As I said, I was singing a lot at school. I was like in this kind of program where I was only at school in the morning and only at musical school in the afternoon, and only singing and playing the violin, and it shaped me all my life because I was really working hard, playing the violin perhaps 6-8 hours a day with the only goal of becoming a violinist.
So that was your actual goal?
That was my goal originally, yeah. And so it shaped me in many ways. It taught me a lot also. Patience, hard work, determination to reach something, and stage frights. I don't have stage fright thanks to the violin. Simply.
Oh, tell me, how does it help your stage fright?
Well, it helps me.
Did you play the violin before we met now?
No. No, because
no stage fright here.
Stage fright. No, but it helped me because you do concerts, and by doing concerts as a kid from a very young age, you don't associate it with a negative experience at all. So it's actually every time I listen to music, for me it's a way to first focus my mind. It's a bit like meditation. You focus on something else, and you open your consciousness.
And it can be therapeutic to anyone.
It is
in any situation.
And it's also a good way for me to bring back the past, to think, to get memories. And I have a very vivid imagination.
And you can be creative.
Yeah.
Unleash your fantasy, right?
Fancy?
You can unleash your fantasy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that is very true. For me, music really triggers my brain imagination all the time.
What is it that you like to play?
What I like to play, well, I mostly play classical musics. You know, I'm fascinated by the romantic concertos, Time of Sibelius and Tchaikovsky, and love Mozart as well, because that's kind of the composer where everything is so perfect that you don't have to interpret it in a way. You just have to do what the partition says, and then you play Mozart the way you wanted it to be played. Well, all the romantic composer, you kind of have to interpret it and put a lot of feelings in it. Mozart is everything has been done for you, so it's relaxing.
I agree. What would you play tonight to celebrate that Ambr is doing so well?
Oh, that's well, I need a happy music. Probably it's something called the Goblin Dance, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very dynamic, a little bit silly piece of music with a piano. It's kind of crazy actually, but very technical, so quite hard as well.
Thanks so much, Valentin. It's so good to meet people with visions like you who go all in life. Thank you so much. Thanks for everyone who are listening and watching our podcast. We'll be back soon with a new episode of Northern Lights.
Thank you so much for having me, Bente.